here with Frank Soto. He is a barber educator for the barberology side of Babyliss Pro. Now, Frank, you are one of the most sought after barber educators. Where do you think led you to that? Like, how did you become one of the most requested educators in barbering?
When I first started doing education, I seen that there was a need for education. I'm real big on schools, and schools are great, but I feel like I've always been the person to give more. Like when I do my classes, I ask everybody that's in my class what exactly they want to learn. And it's nothing more than to actually answering questions and reaching out to what people are really seeking.
What do you think led you to becoming an educator? What inspired you to take that path?
Hard work and dedication. It started behind a chair. I know a lot of people in this industry, they want to jump right into education,
right.
But you have to be physically and mentally prepared, for any battle. And education is not the easiest thing to do, because even when I first started educating, I really didn't know what I was doing. I knew how to do a haircut, but to actually demonstrate and help somebody else do it was kind of difficult. So I think what led me there was the fact that I was going to so many classes and I wasn't getting the answers that I wanted. I would go seeking something and I wasn't really getting fulfilled. So I knew that when I finally got the platform to actually educate one day, I wanted not to do that. I wanted to make sure that everybody that sat in my class was actually satisfied, motivated to actually try something or take something, whether it's the smallest segment, and actually apply it at the shop.
Now, I know it can be very nerve-wracking to be on stage as a platform artist or be teaching licensed professionals. How did you work out all of that nervousness or become comfortable being a platform artist and an educator?
Humility, being humble. A lot of the times, again, you got to fill out the people that's taking your class. I've taught class where people have been cutting hair for 30 years, 40 years. I've only been cutting hair now going on my 8th year. So, to sit in a class and actually hear, I've been doing this for 35 years, there's really nothing you can teach,
right,
but you can share. And that's what makes a difference, when you can actually help people by sharing stuff that's made you successful and giving you an open door versus actually going up in front of people and trying to teach somebody stuff.
Right. Now, for your own education, so that you're continuing to stay inspired, what's on your top list for your own advanced education this year?
To be honest with you, I do a lot of YouTube.
Okay.
Like I feel like when you're looking for growth, you can never put a cap on your success. I feel like a lot of people in the industry, they put a cap because they feel comfortable in one area in particular that they enjoy, and they're too scared to try different stuff. So for me, I'll be at the hotel room and I just put the YouTube on, whether I'm watching it or not, it's still here, instructional. It can be a 16-year-old teaching how to do a fade. And yeah, I know how to do a fade, but there can be one thing that I can pick up from him that I can utilize myself in my education.
Do you think that's one of the bigger things for people to remember when they're taking a class is look for at least one thing that you can take away?
I would always say if you're in the class and you're there to be taught, don't waste your time. If there was some, you have to plan. I'm real big on writing stuff down and planning. So I feel like when you're actually going to a class, you should have a list of stuff that you're struggling with at the salon, or if not, stuff that you want to improve on, where you have it written down, and actually make sure that you had them questions answered, so this way you're fulfilled at the end,
Right.
It's got to be an open communication within the educator and the student.
Right. Now, what advice would you give to anyone starting out in the industry who is looking to grow, looking to advance their own career?
If it's somebody new coming out of school, I will say one thing. It's not going to be easy.
Right.
It will be hard. You'll have a lot of educators say you can do it. You can only do what you let yourself be capable of doing. So the more you put into this industry, the more you're going to get out. It's the same way when it comes to pay. You want to receive more pay, you have requirements of more services that can be provided so you can make more money.
Right.
But for somebody coming out of school that wants to get into just be successful in the industry, I would say hard work, dedication, a lot of sacrifice, whether it's from family, whatever it is has to go on pause. This has to be number one in your life. This way you can supply for your number one in your life.
Right. I think that's great advice. I mean, working hard, you do have to make sacrifices. I know everybody gets into this industry thinking that you can make your own schedule, and eventually you might be able to do that a little bit.
Yeah, that is by far, I believe, the biggest misconception in this industry.
Right.
Is that people want to say, oh, I came into the industry because I can be my own boss.
Right.
I tell my classes when I teach them and I share with them techniques, I tell them, I have multiple bosses. Mm-hmm. When you go work at a Walmart or something like that, you have a manager and you got a head supervisor.
Right.
That's it. In my chair, everybody that sits in that chair is my boss. Mm-hmm. They tell me exactly how they want their hair done, and I have to execute it in that way, in that form. Because if not, I get fired and my clientele goes down. So if you're coming into this industry thinking that you don't have a boss and you can get to work late, you're not really gonna get too far. It's actually coming to the shop early before anybody gets there. It's doing what nobody else wants to do that's gonna take you where you really wanna go.
Right, perfect. Well, take those words of advice, listen to them from somebody who has been there and who has been able to be successful in this industry. Frank, thank you so much for your time.
I appreciate you, thank you.